Ethan Cole had cleaned floors for 15 years, but nothing prepared him for the moment he sprinted across the 32nd floor with his heart hammering like a war drum. His mop bucket rolled behind him, wheels screeching across the polished hallway as he burst through the boardroom doors without knocking. A dozen executives froze mid-sentence. Chairs stopped turning. Pens slipped from fingers. A projector flickered on the far wall, displaying quarterly losses and nervous faces. But none of that mattered, not compared to what Ethan had just discovered. "Don't drink that coffee," he yelled. His voice echoed off the glass walls, slicing through the airtight silence of the morning meeting. At the head of the table sat Ava Kingsley, the 32-year-old CEO of Kingsley Innovations. Brilliant, composed, untouchable. Known for her icy confidence and unmatched intuition, a woman who had taken a collapsing family corporation and rebuilt it into one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. And right now, she sat with a white ceramic mug halfway to her lips. Ava blinked, startled, not by the shout, but by who it came from. The janitor, Ethan Cole, the man who usually kept his head down, who moved quietly through the office, who left before dawn and stayed past midnight. A man who worked 2 jobs just to afford treatment for his 7-year-old daughter Lily, whose asthma kept him awake more nights than sleep ever did. A man nobody ever heard raise his voice. Ava lowered the cup slowly, her blue eyes locked on Ethan. "What's going on?" she asked, her tone calm but sharp as a blade. Ethan pointed at the mug, breathing hard. "Don't drink it. Someone tampered with it." Gasps erupted around the room. The CFO stood. "What are you talking about? That's a serious accusation." "I know what I saw," Ethan interrupted, and he did. 5 minutes earlier, he had walked into the CEO's private lounge to empty trash bins, something he did every day, same time, same routine. But today, he'd seen Trevor Hale, the COO, standing by the coffee machine with a small vial in his hand. Something clear, something he quickly pocketed when Ethan entered. Trevor had smiled, too fast, too rehearsed, and he had left the room without a word. Ethan had gone to throw away the bin but noticed a slight chemical smell near Ava's mug, not from the coffee, from the rim. He didn't know exactly what it meant, but he knew danger when he saw it. Ava studied him, her expression unreadable. She wasn't the kind of CEO who tolerated theatrics, but this didn't feel like theatrics. Ethan looked pale, breathless, terrified, not for himself, but for her. "Everyone step back," Ava ordered. Security rushed in. The room became a flurry of whispers and tension. Trevor Hale, the man Ethan had seen, stood near the window, jaw tight, eyes narrowed. He didn't say a word. Ava handed the mug to security. "Test this." Then she turned to Ethan. "Come with me," she said. Ethan swallowed, unsure whether he was being thanked or fired, but he followed her. Because whatever happened next, it was only the beginning. Ava led Ethan into her private office, a space larger than Ethan's entire apartment. Floor-to-ceiling windows washed the room in gray morning light. A storm brewed over the city, thunder threatened in the distance. She shut the door behind them. "Tell me everything," Ava said. Ethan hesitated. CEOs weren't supposed to look at janitors like this, with seriousness, with attention, but she wasn't giving him a choice. So he told her about seeing Trevor in the lounge, about the vial, about the chemical scent near her mug, about the uneasy feeling that pushed him to act. He expected disbelief, mockery, accusations, but Ava didn't interrupt. Her expression stayed calm, though her hands tightened slightly around her arms. "You did the right thing," she finally said. Ethan blinked. "I did?" "Yes, if what you're saying is true, it could be serious." He exhaled, relieved. "And if it isn't," she added gently, "then we'll confirm that too." That sounded fair. She walked to her desk, opened a tablet, and scrolled through files. Ethan remained standing, unsure where a janitor was supposed to be in an office like this. "Sit, please," Ava said. He did. "You have a daughter, correct?" she asked. Ethan stiffened. "How do you know that?" Ava smiled faintly. "You carry her drawings in your pocket. You use them as bookmarks." Ethan's hand moved to his pocket instinctively. Lily's doodles were indeed folded inside. "She's 7. Her name is Lily," Ava added softly. Ethan stared. CEOs weren't supposed to notice things like this, yet she had. "That's right," he said quietly. "She's the reason you work nights?" Ava asked. "Yes, for her medical bills." Ava nodded slowly. Something softened in her, something human. Before Ethan could speak again, there was a knock. Security entered. "We have the results." Ava stood. Ethan did too, heart pounding. The mug tested positive for a chemical cleaning agent, a small amount, concentrated. The room fell silent. Ethan felt cold. If she had drunk it, even a sip, Ava turned to him. "You saved my life." He shook his head. Anyone would have done the same." "Not everyone," Ava said quietly. Trevor Hale was escorted out of the office moments later, protesting loudly. Ava watched him go with a steady, unreadable expression. Then she faced Ethan again. "Come with me," she said. "There's something you need to know." He followed her, unaware that the secret she was about to reveal was darker than he imagined. Ava pressed a fingerprint panel hidden behind a bookshelf. A steel door slid open, revealing a narrow hallway Ethan never knew existed. "What is this place?" he asked. "My father's private archive," Ava replied. Her father, the founder of the company, had died under mysterious circumstances 3 years earlier. Ethan remembered the news vaguely, but rumors had circulated ever since. Inside the archive were boxes, locked drawers, and rows of labeled files. Ava unlocked a drawer. "This company has enemies," she said quietly. "External and internal ones." She pulled out a folder. "My father didn't die of a heart attack," she said. "He was poisoned." Ethan felt his stomach drop. "It was traced to a beverage he consumed during a meeting," Ava continued, "but the investigation never identified the culprit." "So you think—" "Trevor?" Ethan asked. Ava shook her head. "No, my father trusted Trevor. They were close." She slid another file onto the desk. Ethan saw charts, contracts, and documents showing millions siphoned off into offshore accounts. "Someone inside the company has been laundering money for years," Ava said. "My father uncovered it, and the moment he did—" "He was silenced," Ethan whispered. Ava nodded. "I've spent 3 years trying to find who it was. Trevor was never a suspect, but he might have been manipulated or threatened." Ethan rubbed his forehead. "Why tell me this?" "Because you saw something no one else noticed," Ava said. "You acted. You're not driven by money or status. You're driven by loyalty and instinct." She stepped closer. "I think whoever poisoned my father tried to poison me today." Ethan felt his throat tighten. "You're saying someone wants to kill you?" Ava held his gaze. "Yes." He swallowed hard. "And I think you might be the only person I can trust." Ethan stared at her, this powerful, brilliant CEO who looked at him as if he mattered. "You trust me?" he asked softly. "With my life," she answered. In that quiet room, surrounded by secrets and shadows, something shifted between them. Not romance yet, but a connection, one neither expected. By the next morning, Trevor Hale had been questioned and released. He admitted to being in the lounge. He admitted the vial contained essential oil drops he used to flavor drinks. But he denied touching the CEO's mug. The security footage, mysteriously, had missing frames. Someone had tampered with them. Ava paced in her office, tension radiating from her. This goes deeper, she murmured. Ethan stood nearby. How can I help? You already are, Ava said. At noon, Ava called an emergency board meeting. Ethan wasn't allowed inside, but he waited in the hallway, listening to raised voices. He heard anger, he heard fear, but then he heard his name. Ava called him in. The board members stared as he entered. Ava stepped forward. Yesterday, she began, Ethan Cole saved my life. Today, I'm acting on what he discovered. She placed a folder on the table. After reviewing financial audits, internal logs, and my father's archived files, I found discrepancies, major ones. She turned toward the far corner of the room, where the CFO, Martin Drake, sat, stone-faced. Martin, Ava said, you've been embezzling funds from this company for nearly 5 years. Gasps filled the room. Martin stood abruptly. That's ridiculous. Ava cut him off. And you also arranged access to private areas, including the lounge where my father drank his last beverage. Martin's face drained of color. Security stepped forward. You can't prove... He tried again. Ethan spoke for the first time. You left the lounge right after I entered. You didn't notice I saw you slip something into the trash. Martin's eyes widened. Ava lifted a small evidence bag. Inside was a wiped-down vial retrieved from the trash bin. This matches the toxin found in my father's autopsy. Martin lunged for the door. Security intercepted him. He was handcuffed and escorted out. The room erupted in chaos. Ava turned to Ethan slowly. You helped me finish what my father started, she said softly. He shook his head. I just did what anyone would. No, Ava interrupted. No one else did. She stepped closer. Ethan, I want to make you head of corporate safety and internal observation. Ethan blinked rapidly. I'm a janitor. Not anymore, Ava said. He swallowed, overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. Say yes. He laughed once, breathless. Yes. As the board applauded, Ava leaned closer and whispered, and maybe, when all this settles, we can have dinner. Ethan met her gaze. Her eyes were warm now, human, interested. I'd like that, he said softly. Ava smiled, truly smiled. In the midst of danger, betrayal, and secrets, a janitor had saved a CEO. A CEO had transformed a janitor's future, and something new, fragile, hopeful, began quietly between them, not because of power, not because of status, but because in the darkest moment, they found each other.